Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. Here is your host, Dean Masich.
G'day everyone and welcome back to the Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. I'm Dean Vass. You can find me on X at Hashtag Kangas, Instagram Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. Tonight we're going to break down exactly how the Roos got the job done. It was a while ago now, last Thursday. The players who stood up in the big moments, the tactical changes that worked, and whether this is a performance North can build on for the rest of the season. Joining me for the very first time on a podcast is James Duke, the Dukester. James, welcome to the Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. It's great to have you on. Now, before we get into the game itself, I've got to ask you a question. I think we spoke a little bit off air about this. This always seems to divide football supporters. Do you like Thursday night football, mate?
Oh, if I didn't have to work the next day, sure.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's very tough if you've got a family. You wouldn't be taking your family if they've got school the next day and things like that, would you?
No, definitely not. No, well, we've both got two young kids, and like you said, by the time you get home, unwind. It's close to midnight. And if you've got to get up early for work, it's not practical. So, it makes it really tough. I guess the only enjoyable part is we won, James.
Oh, yes, it was very nice sitting at home and watching us win. Yeah.
Yeah, something different. So, we might as well let's get straight into the game. It was North's Melbourne's first win in a long time against a pretty, genuine finals contender. And not only did they beat the Western Bulldogs, they beat them playing a brand of football the supporters been asking to see for a while, taking on the corridor a bit more, playing a bit more attacking. The pressure was up, the contest was fierce, and like I said, the ball movement was a bit more proactive than we've seen probably in the second half of the year. So the big question is, I guess, is this a moment North Melbourne turns the corner?
Well, I honestly think we've been turning the corner since the Freo game. We've played so many good games, it's just been goal kicking that has really hurt us. So we finally got the goal kicking right, and that's what won us the game, isn't it? Yeah. 6 straight in the first quarter. You can't do much better than that.
Yeah, well, it's coincided with, Nick Larkey's, for the first time in his career, he's probably struggled with a bit of inaccuracy, which has hurt. Jack Darling has been a bit inaccurate lately. So, it's one of those things, once a couple don't go through, it seems to spread throughout the team. And it's almost like some players... probably don't want that opportunity when they're about 30 metres out, because you've seen it, like some players are about 30, 40 out and they're poking at the ball, not even making the distance half the time too, James.
Or trying to pass it off. Like Trembath. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even he had the yips. It was a very good kick as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, yes. He's normally, you just back him in, wouldn't you? So, especially him out of it, all of them, lately he's been the most accurate. So you'd think he'd back himself. You had that terrible one where he completely missed everything and it went to the other side to JD, who actually kicked it. Showed him how he should have kicked it.
Yeah, no, it's it's a bit funny, but like you said, once the ball got rolling, we kicked 6 straight. I think it was the first quarter. Yeah, it seemed to flow on into the rest of the team and into the rest of the game. So, it's a fair point. That's probably what's been hurting us a lot. But we need to talk about a player that came into the team, and that's George Wardlaw, because for me, he's quickly becoming the heart and soul of this football club. Every team has that player who sets a standard, not just with what they do with the ball, but with their effort, their intent, and the way they inspire everyone around them. Wardlaw is that guy. His individual efforts on Thursday night were enormous. The run-down tackle on Ed Richards when the Bulldogs were starting to build momentum was exactly the lift North needed at that time. Yeah, not long after that, he played a part in the Zach Bench, who kicks a goal, and suddenly we've got the game back on our terms. Then in the last quarter, he had a couple of really good plays. Jordan Croft, I think he's got all the time in the world before George comes from nowhere, chases him down, affects the kick, and probably saves a goal.
Let's not talk about that not being holding the ball.
It was the one after. I thought it was more the Cody Waitman one.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he got a foot to it, but Waitman, just completely dropped it in front of the umpire. And Hardeman's just looked at the umpire, Waitman's looked at the umpire, waiting for a decision, and he called play on. So we'll talk about the umpiring, James. Don't worry about that. So, Yeah, well, it might be here for a while. And those are the moments that don't always show up on the stat sheet, but they are can completely change the game. For me, when George Wardlaw plays, North Melbourne is a different football side. He brings an edge and a competitive spirit that spreads through the whole team. I'll go one step further here for you, James. If George Wardlaw can stay fit and play 20 plus games next season, that's a big ask with his soft tissue injury history. But I genuinely believe North Melbourne can play finals. And I'm not talking about sneaking into the playing positions from 7th to 10th. I'm talking about pushing for a top 6 finish. That's how highly I...
Lost you there. Cool.
Internet connection, just as I was talking up... was talking up George Wardlaw, but what's your opinion on George Wardlaw? Am I talking him up too much? Is he? Because I find he's very important.
You're not. He's very important. There was that game earlier in the season. I can't remember which game it was, but it was with Foss and him both went berserk in the last quarter and got us over the line. He is so important. I think it's 42% win with him and 12% when he's not in the team. So when you look at it like that, he's very important. And I think if he's playing the last 4 weeks, we probably pinch 1 or 2 of those games. And it's the difference between wildcard or not.
Yeah, I'm not so sure what else we can do with him, James. Like, he played, I think it was 55% time on ground. Even the first half of the year, it was around 60% time on ground.
Yeah.
Maybe we just have to accept that once a year he might get a soft tissue injury, which rules him out for 3 to 4 weeks, because there's not much else you can do because they manage his minutes quite well, I feel, the club.
Sure. They do. There's the other thing is, they can take him overseas and get his body right. They had that athletics coach that they were getting to change his running patterns and things like that. That seemed to have worked because he got a bit of continue at the start of the
continuity.
Yeah, that's the word.
To say.
Tripping over my tongue a little. So he got that at the start of the season. He played 9 straight before he had any issues.
Yeah, something.
So then I think that was a concussion that got him out. So, I think it's starting to work. I think it's just keep building, really. I think next season you'll find he might be a little bit even better. If it's only 1 soft tissue this year, that's great compared to last year, for example, where he's in and out of the side with soft tissue. So it's definitely improving. So let's just hope that he can get next year. There's just none, and then, as you said, finals bound.
No, well, I think the pre-season, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if it was this pre-season, last pre-season, he had a soft tissue injury too, didn't he? Like, I think it interrupted his pre-season, and I think it was this year. So, yeah, look, if he can get a pre-season, build strength in his glutes, it'll go a long way, hopefully, to not just playing 50, 60% time on ground, but hopefully getting to 70, 80%. I know he's a burst player, but it would be nice to get him out there for a lot longer. So could he be a future captain, James? I know there's a lot of talk about Harry Sheezel after Nick Larkey relinquishes the captaincy, but could he be a next in line possibly?
Definitely. He's the kind of heart and soul player you back, you put everything behind. Obviously it's going to be Sheezel. Yeah. He's definitely going to be in the leadership group, and he'll probably be vice captain, and he'll step up if Sheezel can't play, is my opinion. But you can't look past Sheezel. He's going to obviously be the future captain for the next 50 years.
Yeah, well, it would be nice to have him for that. Yeah, maybe 10 or so. That'll be good. But look, just on Harry Sheezel, now we're going to transition to him and talk about him in a second. But he's a really good chance to win 3 best and fairest in his first 4 years of AFL football. I haven't seen anyone have this much influence. Now, mate, you're a bit younger than me. I know that, James, but I haven't seen someone have this much influence over a football club, especially at this age. He's only just turned 21, since Wayne Carey. Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't think we almost appreciate how good he is each week, do we, James? Sometimes it almost feels like we take it for granted when we go out and watch him.
It's called the Sheasel tax, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, he's that good.
Yeah, you just expect him to get his 25 plus every week, and that's just Sheasel, isn't it? It's astounding how, like, before we had him, we would never even thought about having a player like this. Now it's just he's just there.
Yeah, and it's he got a big pay rise too, and a contract extension only a few weeks ago. But I guess another bonus is when Wardlaw is fit and playing, it allows Harry Sheasel to spend more time in the forward half without weakening the midfield. He finished with 29 disposals, and he'll always rotate through the centre square when a team needs him. But I actually love seeing him play forward for periods. His forward craft is elite. That's where he played his junior football. He knows where to lead. He uses the ball brilliantly and has an uncanny ability to make the right decision inside 50. He did that nice little strip where George Wardlaw got the goal.
I was just about to mention that.
off Libba. He's just so dangerous in goal, whether he's kicking them himself or setting them up for teammates. So on Thursday night, he finished with a match-hot 12 scoring involvements, which tells you everything about his impact. Sometimes we get caught up thinking our best players have to spend every minute in the midfield, but I don't think that's the case with Harry. If George Wardlaw is healthy, you got LU, Finn O'Sullivan, Tristan Sherry, maybe Tom Powell in the future. It just gives that luxury of throwing Sheasel forward and creating another genuine weapon inside forward 50.
Yep, I think it helped the balance too. I'm not going to mention it, but but I think the balance felt a lot better in the forward line with Sheasel playing in the forward line. So I think that really, really helped.
It certainly did. So we'll have to wait and see. Nigel Sullivan has come into the chat and said, "Bring on the Cats." Well, we may be getting ahead of ourselves here after one win, but we've got nothing to lose the last 2 weeks, I suppose. So
won the game for him isn't playing, so there's a chance.
Jeremy Cameron either. I don't think he's playing. Yeah. We can only hope he's not playing, but we'll have to wait. So just on there's been a bit of divided opinion about Tristan Sherry this year with the new ruck rules. Do you think it's affected his game a little bit too much? Like, I guess he's not having influence in the last couple of years where he was getting 10 tackles, 10 clearances, but I still think it's not affecting him as much as it, like people are letting on. People are almost writing his career off right now because of the new ruck rules, but I don't think he's been too bad.
No, I don't think he has. He's improved his contested marking. He's been very good in the hole. Getting back, taking a clunk. He's been doing those extra things to make up for not being able to jump at the centre bounce, which I think is the injury. He's also been, taking a few marks in the forward line. He's had chances to kick goals. He's obviously set shot kicking needs a bit of work, but he hasn't been doing it. It hasn't been his role to be in the forward line kicking goals. So that's something he can work on in the preseason. Get himself right. I think he's going to be perfectly fine. You can tell he's hindered by something. It just makes sense with the way he's not jumping and stuff like that.
Yeah, do you think it's worth the risk playing someone? He's obviously not right. Apparently he's got a really bad hip or something. Oh, I've heard something like that. A really bad hip, shoulder or something. Is it worth? Is it worth risking for the last 2 games of the year? If he needs surgery or something like that, is it worth risking? Because we're not going to be playing finals. There's no hope of that right now. Or do you just sort of think, well, it would be nice to win 1 or 2 games going into next year, and if he's right and it's not going to make it too much of a difference long term, and he's going to have his surgery in a couple of weeks, there's no difference. I mean, is it worth the risk, I guess?
Well, if it can't be aggravated further, there's no harm. But at the same time, I'd like to see more of Goad. So I'd actually like to see Dawson and Goad sharing the ruck duties and leaving Trembar forward to give him that chance to kick goals like he did last week. So if Cherry isn't going to get worse, I don't think there's an issue with it. But at the same time, I would really like to see a bit more of Goad because I thought he was okay. He needed more game time when he was playing. So that, if it's I think it's time to give the younger kids a go. Let's see what they're made of. If we've got nothing to play for really, apart from maybe stealing another win from a good side, why not play the youth and see how hungry they are?
Yeah, that was a bit frustrating there for a few weeks, wasn't it? When they were playing a third ruckman, and it was either Dawson or Goad. They were playing like 20 or 30% time on Grant. I mean, what are you going to get from that? You're not learning anything, are you?
Nothing. You're getting nothing. You're getting exposure at the top level, but it's not even really exposure. Look at what happened on Thursday night. Will Dawson had a pretty good game. I thought he was really good. He had 60% game time, and look at the difference between playing 30 and 60.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, just on Will Dawson, while we're talking about him now, I've felt like they've moved a bit too quickly off him being a key position defender because we still don't have a long-term solution to that. We don't know about Blake Threadgold. He's been injured all year. He's still a young player, and there's no evidence of proof that he's going to be this gun or anything like that. Nothing against him. He might be. I hope he is. We don't have much in the VFL. We've got Griffin Logue. We're still the jury's still definitely out on him. Aiden Cause towards the end of his career, and Charlie Comben as well. Well, Charlie Comben, we're certainly building our backline around. But I just felt like they went a bit too quick from developing him as a defender. But he does look, I guess on the other side of the coin, he does look pretty good as like a second ruck who can go forward. The only issue is I think we've got enough forwards at the moment too, James.
We do. So I'm just wondering if maybe there's something that we already know, that the recruiting team already know, that a player that we may have already got an unofficial I'm coming to North Melbourne, and that's why they've decided to do that with Will Dawson. So there's been a post, I don't know if you follow them, but the North Melbourne Shinboners on Facebook. They said, they've said there's all these players that have verbally said they're coming. So I'm just wondering if they've known about something like this for a while now, and that's why they've let's give Dawson the role ruck forward because we've got a really good key defender coming.
Okay, well, maybe it's Wiedering, hopefully.
Well,
we'll see what happens. I guess for the short term, I don't know. We're not privy to those conversations. We hear a lot of rumours during the course of the year. So, we'll have to wait and see in the next few weeks. I'm sure more will come out. But Wiedering might want to stay at Carlton the way they're going at the moment.
They're going, yeah.
Yeah, well, he played in the VFL on the weekend. Maybe he's not good enough to get a game for him anymore, James. So we might be able to get him cheap.
Or they're that good now they can just, rest their really good players and bring them back slowly rather than rushing them back in and injuring them again.
So, yeah, well, good luck to them, I suppose.
Exactly.
They can go quite comfortably. So, full credit to them. They've completely turned it around. Colin McKercher, now, the last couple of weeks, he's gone to half-back, and I really like him behind the ball. He's got the whole ground in front of him. He can use his biggest weapons, his speed, line breaking ability, and his decision making to launch attacks from defence. He's one of those players who turn defence into attack quite quickly. Against the Bulldogs, he finished with 30 disposals, 435 metres gained, and I thought he looked so much more comfortable playing with the game in front of him rather than trying to find his way as a high half forward or drifting through different roles. As he gets stronger physically, maybe he becomes a permanent midfield one day. But right now, I think halfback is where he can have his biggest impact. He gives North something they've been lacking for a while: genuine pace and dare coming out of defence. When he's behind the ball, takes responsibility away from like Zerha, Parker, Daniel to be the primary ball users out of defence. What do you think about McKercher behind the ball, or you sort of think, the balance is okay without him there, with Daniel and Parker, but or do you feel the way I feel about it, and want his run and carry behind the ball?
Wouldn't he be the perfect player if he had a right foot?
Zoolander, he can't turn right, so Zoolander just can't turn left, so he's the opposite of him. So
he's the opposite. So I think he's just going to be that kind of player that he might in the midfield. You might want him to be that outside, the one you get the hands to on the outside. So he might be more suited to a wing, a winger that pushes in rather than being the defensive side. I do really like him off halfback. His defensive efforts though, like he can run so quick attacking, but when it comes to running backwards and chasing someone. He just doesn't give the effort you need. If he was to fix that and get a right boot, he'd be one of the best halfbacks in the game, I would imagine.
The frustrating part for me during the course of the year, he was getting a lot of the ball, like handball season, on his right side. So he's running right side, and he just runs to the boundary with. He just, I got to track back here because I've got no right foot. So that was a frustrating part. I just feel like if the ball's, if he's coming from behind and got the ground in front of him, he can go to his left a lot easier.
Yeah.
Where that's a way I've seen it, and I guess having him there allows someone like Caleb Daniel to play more naturally instead of feeling like he has to be the only distributor off halfback as well. So that's what I like. But have you been a fan of Zerha playing the back line this year?
Oh, that's been a roller coaster for me. He's had a couple of games where he's been really, really good, and there's been a couple of games where he's been really, really bad. So for me, at the start of the season,
much sums up his career, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It really does. For me, it was. I just thought if he's not performing in his role, then you should be bringing someone in that will be. So for me, it's like that. I think was half our problem is we're trying to fit, round pegs into square holes in a lot of the team. So Zerha, for me, if he can't play forward because he's not got the form, then he shouldn't be in the side. But then he goes and pulls a game like that against the Bulldogs, and you're like, okay, maybe. So he's probably keeping McDonald out now. He's got the McDonald role, and to be honest, having a younger player in that role is good.
There's been a lot of talk about Hardiman. He came into the team. If Goda should be back this week, could they play both of them this week, James, or do you think one of them? Do you think Hardiman goes out if Hardiman comes in?
I actually think that Corb will come out. I think he's back spasms, so I think we're going to get both of them.
But you can only hope because, looking at the back line of the balance, like you can play Logue, Comben, Zerha as your three talls anyway.
Yep.
And with Core there, it feels a bit imbalance, so it would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. I think they covered it pretty well. You haven't had Logue play on Nick Watson because and that's not a good matchup. And I don't really want to see Griffin Logue playing on Brad Close next week. You want to see someone like a Goda or a Hardman playing on Brad Close, not Griffin Logue. Griffin Logue should be playing on Shannon Neal, and then you've got Common to do whoever their other tall forward is. Polkenhorn, I think his name is, the new guy. So
they've got a couple of young kids.
Yeah. So that's what I would like to see is just that slightly little bit smaller. Goda can play tall or short. Hardiman can play tall or short. Zerha can play tall or short. To me, that's good enough with the two key pillars as well.
Yeah, you've got a good balance. Yeah,
exactly.
With those hybrid defenders as well, like you sort of said. You could have played Hardiman on Nick Watson a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, definitely would have been the perfect matchup, wouldn't it?
Yeah, wouldn't like you don't have to play Griffin Logue on him.
Honestly, I don't think it would have changed the result because Griffin Logue only had the one kicked on him by Nick Watson, but still, it might have meant he didn't have as much space to do the running through the middle like he did, stuff like that. So,
it's more the offensive side too. Griffin Logue's not going to give you running. Look, I actually think Hardiman gives you a little bit of running speed out of the back line. He's got a good left foot too, James. He's got a really penetrating kick at the end to Charlie Spargo. From the wing, he kicked it 55 metres straight on his chest. Which
that goal he kicked a couple of weeks ago was 60 metres out on the wing.
Yeah,
went over the top.
I know. I went over the back. It was a little bit lucky, but still, he's got a good penetrating foot on him.
He really
does. Good skills. So it would be nice to give him a bit of continuity. He's still worried about his contract situation, James.
I'm wondering if that's why he keeps getting dropped. If he's told us that he's going, and then it's sort of like, well, who are we going to play instead? But I'm just like, if that was the case, they probably would have picked Cooper Harvey over him. So. It's got to be something else. There's got to be something they want him to work on that's keeping him in and out of the side because from the eye test, he looks absolutely fantastic. And he gives us very, very good balance and run and drive.
It's a bit bizarre. Do you think Cooper Harvey will be at the club next year?
I hope they give him another year. For me, I want to see him play in the Spargo role. I think he would play.
Yeah, he wouldn't do any
role.
worse.
I think he would be really good because he's got really good goal sense. He can take a good mark, and he's got a great kick on him. So I would love him delivering the ball inside 50.
Yeah, it's his most natural position, isn't it? Like
It
the
is,
forward 50. Yeah, I mean, he's been okay. Like, he's been quite
He's been
solid in the
good.
back line. Yeah,
Yep.
but yeah, I think his best position is forward half. But apparently there was a few clubs interested in him during the course of the year. I don't know who they are, but if they offer him longer than 1 year, he'd probably have to seriously consider it. Even though
he's best friends with Nate Caddy.
yeah, well, apparently Essendon were one of the clubs that were quite keen on him. So, yeah, well, it's a bit of a wait and see with him at the moment.
Who would you
James-
prefer, Cooper Harvey or Dersma at the moment?
Oh, geez. Desmond was quite good first half of the year. He was very, very good, but I don't know. He's meeting with Melbourne at the moment, so apparently he's meeting with Melbourne. So, but the problem with players like Dersma, well, we've got enough of those forwards. We just drafted another one in the mid-season who looks pretty good too, Ollie Griffin. So he's probably more replaceable. But yeah, well, a lot of rumours about him at the moment. So yeah, that's another thing we'll have to wait and see in the next few weeks. But I want to give some love to a player I probably don't talk enough about, and that's Dylan Stephens. I actually think he's had an underrated season. He's averaging around 20 disposals a game, up from 17 last year, 4.4 score involvements per game, 370 metres gained per match. Those are really solid numbers, but it's not just the statistics. What I appreciate most about Stephens is his work rate. He works incredibly hard both ways. He gets back to help defence, works forward to provide an option in attack. And if you look at the GPS data each week, he's consistently at the top, covering around 16 kilometres a game. That's a huge effort. There was also that great moment on Thursday night when he delivered that beautiful right foot pass to Josh Simpkin for a goal. It was a classy piece of ball use that probably didn't get the recognition it deserved. I think women are sometimes victims of their role. But if you're not kicking 3 goals and racking up 35 possessions like Harry Sheezel each week, then supporters often don't notice just how much running and selfless work goes into the position. But I think Dylan Stephens has become a really reliable, consistent player this year, James.
He has. And the thing that was the knock on him that I think people have just got long memories is that he was a little bit soft. But that moment where he went back, he had to go, and he went, and he knew he was going to get his head absolutely knocked off for doing it, and he did it. These are the things that I think in his first season got everyone off him. But since that first season, he's been fantastic when it comes to the contesting and putting his body on the line. At the start of the season when we were going really well, he was going really well. It was that middle patch there. I think we might have changed. We changed the way we were playing. We weren't using him because we were doing those long down the line kicks. We weren't trying to hit the targets in the corridor, and that game doesn't suit a player like Dylan Stephens. You want him, off the half back line. We want to be hitting him to hit someone else, and then that's how you move it down the line. But if you're going to dump kick it, he's not the guy that's going to take a contested mark on the wing, and that's what I think takes him out of the game. He has that quiet patch because we stopped that run and gun.
Yeah, definitely. He's got a good left foot.
He does.
He seemed. Why do you think he flies under the radar? Like, we've just talked him up, but is it just his mistakes probably get more criticised rather than let's say Harry Sheezel does a mistake, it's probably it's Harry Sheezel. That's very rare. Whereas if he makes a mistake, you're at the game. People seem to jump down his throat a lot more, James.
He's a whipping boy. It's just like Caleb Daniel. It's just like
he's a bit.
People have long memories of things they don't like about someone. It takes a very long time for someone to turn that opinion around.
Yes. I think it's starting to slowly get there. I think Charlie Spargo, the recruitment of that has probably helped him to. That's probably he's become the number one whipping boy now. So I think he's about most supporters whipping boy at the moment. Just on Charlie Spargo, while we're talking about him now, I don't mind him making mistakes. I don't mind players making mistakes when they're out there, but when when someone else makes a mistake, he seems to be the first to run over and criticise the player, whereas he does it quite regularly. It's a bit strange, isn't it? That's he's out there trying to set the standard, and I'm all for players setting the standard. If Harry Sheezel sort of says, "What are you doing?" All right, well, fair enough. But if it's Charlie Spargo, I'd be thinking, who the hell is this bloke? What the hell is he telling me off for? He can't hit a target.
Yeah, I just think about the fact that he's gone from Melbourne. And you look at all the other guys that have left Melbourne and how their attitude has suddenly come to light, like Petrarca, for example, where, he had that argument with Lombard. So I just think it's had something to do with Melbourne's culture, where they were at each other's throats. There was always reports of fighting between teammates and stuff at Melbourne when Goodwin was in charge. So I'm just wondering if that's a little bit of that still in him. And it might take a couple of seasons for him to change that attitude because he's so used to being in that environment. So I feel he can get better, and I think he has been better since that. Like earlier in the season, It was shocking. I haven't noticed it as much lately, and I think maybe someone's taken him aside and say, "Hey, look, we don't tolerate that here. We're a team. We want to, we want everyone to be on the same page." And I think that's helped a bit. He still has his moments, like that one when he ran into Colby against, was it the Hawks that he did?
Saints, I think. I think it was the Saints.
And he ran into Colby, and rather than getting up and chasing the ball, he just stood there with his hands on his hips.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's the kind of stuff you don't want, because he's meant to be a leader at the club, and he's meant to be setting an example. And if other players see that, it's just not a good look. But other than that, sometimes he pulls out gold. That kick he lays to Banch, that was smart. He's on an angle. He's got a less chance. He's put the kick to the advantage of Banch, and he's just lined it up. So he does some really good things, but then he does some really silly things as well.
Yeah, it's almost felt like he's been humbled because he's making the mistakes as well. So he thought, I'm not going to start yelling at my own teammates if I can't even do it myself. So
yeah.
I mean, for a guy that came in with this great reputation of being a great teammate, a great bloke, I haven't seen anything on a football field to suggest that.
Yeah. But then once again, maybe that's a completely different definition coming from Melbourne.
Well, maybe compared to the rest of them, he was one of the greatest guys.
I mean, you're playing besides Stephen May, so it automatically makes just about anyone a good bloke.
Yeah, pretty much. Stephen May had Clayton Oliver. He went off the rails there for a period. Trackers, I don't know what's going on with him at the moment.
Yeah.
So, it might have just been the Melbourne culture, but they won a flag, I suppose, 5 years ago in saying that. So maybe they just got ahead of themselves. I'm not too sure, but we'll move on. We'll move on from Melbourne. Another player I want to touch on was Zach Badge. I thought this was a genuine breakout game for him. He finished with 16 disposals, 2 goals, both career highs. I thought he looked more confident than he has in previous games. What impressed me most was the way he took his opportunities in front of goals. They weren't easy finishes. He slotted both set shots under a fair bit of pressure where the game was on the line. That's a real sign of growing confidence at AFL level. I'll be honest with you, I still have some concerns about his size. Geez, he looks small out there. He probably looks as small as your kids at the moment, James, sometimes when you watch him.
Yeah.
But there's something that's something that will improve as he spends more time in the system and continues to develop, that he may be able to get that mature AFL body. And I guess the big thing is continuity. He's played 3 games in a row, four of the last 5. He did have an injury there for a week, so he's had another run of games now, and you're starting to see the benefits. Instead of playing one game, being dropped, Riley Hardiman, Cooper Harvey, and so forth, he's been given a chance to settle into the level, learn from week to week, and build confidence. I think that's really important for young players too, James.
Yeah, it is. So last week you saw the signs. He kicked that really nice crumbing goal. Yeah, and he comes in this week. Good. He's got his confidence after that, and look at the difference. And some of those run plays that he was doing from half back to the forward line were really, really impressive. He's got some pace. He's got some pressure. I think he needs to tackle a little bit more. But he's a short king, and I'm short, so I'm always going to favour the short kings. So I've always liked him since we signed him, and now he's starting to show that he can do it at AFL level, and we need one of these small forwards to stand up and show it, don't we?
Well, we've got a few. Costanti, Lockie Doverston is in his first year. We've talked about Spargo, Hansen. We've got a number of them, but it's I mean, you need to stick with someone and give him a chance, especially someone like him who's out of contract at the end of the year. You don't want to just give up on him and sort of say, oh, he doesn't have it. You know, you don't want to make the call too early. Give him a few games and see what he's got. And that was a good sign on the weekend. Like you said, the week before he kicked that nice front and square goal. We very rarely do that, do we, James? We've very rarely had a small in the last 10
Without
years
PC,
that it has done. Yeah, well, pretty much, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, it's something we're still crying out for, aren't we? Like,
It is.
ever since we passed on Nick Watson, not to bring that up again, but we're still crying out for that small forward, aren't we?
If you watch him though, if he's on the ground and the ball's in our forward 50 and it's coming in high, he's always at the feet. He might not get the ball, but he's always in the right position to accept it. And that's something as well that I think gets missed. Is his positioning is fantastic. That's why he's always getting those outlet kicks off half back, because he's always in the right position, and that's why he's always getting the ball kicked to him in the forward line, because he's got really good leading patterns and really good positioning, and that is one of the most important things in a small forward. You can't kick goals if you're not in the right spot.
Yeah, so, you're actually right. I'll probably look past that. He's got very good forward craft.
He does.
He's had that since his first game. I remember that first game against Geelong last year. We lost by over 100 points. Everyone was kicking to him like he was Wayne Carey. Not really, but I remember that. Like I remember, it's the trauma. Like you can't get past it, James. But yeah, look, everyone was kicking to him. You can sort of tell. Like this guy's got some really good forward craft. So it's hopefully, next couple of weeks, like we've got some good opposition for him, so it's going to be a real challenge. But that's what you want to see. You want to see these young guys get, a good challenge going forward. What's your opinion on the other small forwards? I think Robert Hansen's Jr.'s in trouble. He's been playing the back line pretty much all year in the VFL. I don't think he gets another deal. Jacob Castanti signed till 2028. I think he's shown a little improvement this year. Yeah. And Lockie Dodson probably, ever since the pre-season, has been a little bit of a letdown, hasn't he?
He has. I think with JK, I think he just needs to really get that goal kicking going. It's all well. We don't want another Kane Turner. He just sits in the forward line and all he does is pressure. We know it didn't work back then, and the game was slower. Now the game's quicker. You can't have someone in the forward line that can't kick goals. You need it's all well and good to have the pressure, but you need to be able to kick the goals as well. So, and I think Doveston, everyone's being a little bit harsh on him. It's his first year. He's a smaller player. Everyone keeps saying, it's Nick Watson 2.0. He's a different player. He needs time. They don't all just come out and be superstar straight away. Nick Watson was in and out of the Hawthorn side in his first season. So it's not linear for every player. It's not every player is going to be Harry Sheezel, come in and impact straight away. And I think that's something else I think that people expect now, is that every player we draft now is just going to come in and be brilliant. Not every player is not the same.
No, it was pick 16, I think, as well. So he did slide down a bit. It was towards almost the end of the first round. I think a lot of people got excited after his pre-season. In the intra-club matches and against Collingwood, I think he kicked 3 or 4 goals. And I think he's been taught a lesson that AFL is very hard work, and you need to work hard at your craft. Otherwise, you get left behind quite quickly. Because I remember the draft last year sort of said, does Nick Watson play like me? I think he's been humbled a little bit, James, to say the least. Yeah, but
I think so.
And there's nothing wrong with that. He'll learn. He's only 19, so
he's very young.
Yeah, just don't get him to go out and buy a carton of eggs.
I don't think he's ever going to live that down, is he?
No, definitely not. But you live and learn, James. We're all young and we're all stupid, and we've all done stupid things when we were younger. We still do stupid things now, James. To be honest with you, I know I do every day. So yeah, that's all part of it. We've got 2 games left against some really good opposition, and after a performance like Thursday night's, expectations probably naturally rise a bit for supporters. It's not about winning games, I guess. It's going to be really hard against 2 very good teams. But, of course, you'd love to. But I think what's more important is seeing this become a standard. We want to see the pressure. We want to see intent, taking the game on, going through the corridor a bit more. And just seeing players have belief with the ball in hand like a Colin McKercher. So if we can bring that last 2 weeks, I think I'd be quite happy and be competitive in performances. But is there anything you want to see in the last 2 weeks? Maybe you want to see some younger players get an opportunity. You talked about that before.
I would love to see some of the younger guys get a go. We've had 3 debutants this year. That's very, very low for where we are as a team.
Yeah.
So you'd want to be blooding youth, but when you think about it, we haven't really got that many players that haven't debuted that are actually fit and available. You've got Mukunda, you've got, I don't even know if he's fit, Urquhart, and
he's played the last couple of weeks,
and obviously Griffin as well. So you've only got like the 3 or 4 players on the list that haven't played an AFL game. So really, I just want to see the guys that have had a couple of games get a real red hot crack, especially the guys out of contract, like your Cooper Harveys. I want to see these guys get the last 2 games to see a final chance to really nail down that spot, because obviously we're going to have to cut some players.
Yeah,
we've got draft picks, we've got players we want to bring in. It's sorry, it's important that we at least give them a chance to show what they've got.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, like you said, I know we've only had 3, as you're starting to choke on your words there, James.
Yeah,
we've only got 3 players that have debuted this year, but there's no one else really that could have come in. You talked about Mukunda. He's still developing. Luke Urquhart has been out for about half the year, or 6 to 8 weeks at least. And that's about it, really. Obviously, Ollie Griffin's probably the talking point for one. A lot of people have been calling for him. He's been quite solid in the VFL. But outside of that, there's not much else, really. So, I mean, I guess if Goaters comes back this week, we don't want to see Riley Hardiman get dropped, do we?
No, we don't.
That would be, that would probably hurt a little bit.
I honestly think it needs to be. I think even if he's fit, I think give him that week off and bring in Goat. I see what they've got, what we've got with that defensive unit.
The VFL, they had a poor loss in the week, and they've actually been quite poor the last few weeks. Should have lost by about 15 goals on the weekend.
Yeah.
They actually level half time with the Bulldogs. It was about halfway through the third quarter. It just fell apart completely. 12-25, 97 to 79, 51. Matt Whitlock was a standout with 3 goals. That was about it, really, to be honest with you, James. But Matt Whitlock, it's been interesting that they've tried to give him a game, but it's pretty hard to play 4-2 forwards, James, like they did there for a few weeks. Now, James, you came into the chat. You kept saying we're too tall.
Both ends of the ground, we were too tall, and since then there's been gradually, not as quick as I would have liked. Gradually, there's been a change to the balance of the side, and now I think they've basically found that perfect balance, which is good.
That was. I thought I had to get that in for you, James. Yeah, you kept coming into the comments. Too tall. What's he doing? But that was really crazy trying to play 4-2-4. I think after the first game, even Alistair Clarkson said in the post match, it was getting rebounded out too quickly. I think we had 7 stoppages from forward 50, and then the next week he's picked the exact same team. So, do you think the club? Do you think the club felt a little bit of pressure because they obviously invested a lot in trying to get him to the club? Matt Whitlock, they gave up a fair bit to get him in, and David King was quite critical of where his development was during the course of the week. That's why they've given a few games, because I didn't think his form in the VFL was that outstanding, James.
No, so it was a case of we just played Port. His brother was playing, and his brother kicked 3 or 4 goals against us. It's like, hey, hang on a second, we have one of those at home. So it's like, oh, let's throw him in and just see what he can do. And it just, I don't think it really worked very well for him. Unfortunately, it's not his fault. It's if you want to play him, then you need to give another one of the forwards a rest. As much as Jack Darling's been our best forward, it's crazy that he's played just about every game. I think it was at the point this season where he should have been getting phased out just a little bit to give us a chance to play the Matt Whitlocks, and also give more game time to your Will Dawsons if they're going to make him a ruck forward, stuff like that.
The thing with Jack Darling, I think they wanted to phase him out, but his form has been too good, James.
He's just been too good, unfortunately.
Australian.
Yeah.
Well, he got dropped for a week. He was good in the VFL, and I think we may have had an injury, and he came back in. Yeah, and he came back in, and then it's been impossible. Look, he's been our most consistent forward throughout the course of the year, James, which is a bit strange to say for a 34-year-old.
I know. I think it's more that there's a little bit less weight on him. You know, you've got Trembath and you've got Larkey taking the two best defenders, because obviously Trembath at the start of the season was taking the PI 55 because he was getting the worst defender, and now then other teams have gone, no, we're going to stop this, and that means that it's freed up Jack Darling to have the third defender. Sometimes he's out, bigger than them. So I think it's more that he's being very lucky with the defenders he's been getting, as well as more pressure on the other two.
No, it makes sense. Because his one-on-one work has been outstanding. I felt like we've pretty much gone to him sometimes a bit too much too, Darling. Like there's been 3 players on him sometimes. I'll go long down the line. Hopefully he can bail us out.
And he still takes it.
I think I'm watching Wayne Carey sometimes from the 90s when I see him playing in quarters, certain quarters. So he's had a really good year. So I guess for Matt Whitlock, it's probably just waiting for him to pass on a baton to him. Possibly next year. We're hoping anyway, James.
Well, then even then, Matt, do you think that Dawson's now gone past him as a forward ruck?
Well, and that's another thing. I mean, that's going to be interesting too to see how he develops. He's signed an extra 2 years. Yeah. So it's nothing wrong with a bit of competition for spots, because the cream always rises to the top. Now, James, before we finish up, we've got to talk about Alistair Clarkson. Now, we just mentioned that you've been quite vocal over the course of the season about some of the team selection, particularly the side being a little bit too tall, and so forth. But in saying that, have you seen Clarkson, Coach? Are you happy for him to go into next year and see out the final year of his contract? Because there was talk a few weeks ago that Todd Viney came out and said, we want to extend him. His coach is as good as ever. But, I don't think there's any rush with that. You can use next season. He can go into a contract year. Players go into a contract year. If North continues to improve and the game style becomes more consistent and fantastic, then you can have a contract conversation after that. If not, then the club has a decision to make. But I don't think one win means everything is fixed like we did on the weekend. Just like I don't think one loss means everything was broken either. But in saying that, where do you sit with him right now, James?
See, I'm happy for him to run out his contract, but I think after that we probably need a fresh voice. Now, when I say fresh voice, I don't mean Adam Simpson, I don't mean John Longmire, because I think both those guys were cooked by the end of their careers, and the tactics have gone past both of those guys. We need a fresh voice, like someone like Josh Kelly in the Geelong system right now as an assistant coach. You bring someone new in. Yeah, James Kelly. So you bring someone like that in with fresh voice, fresh tactics, because I think that's the only thing I think that Clarko is struggling with, and I think that's the tactics side of it. Everything else, like his culture, all that kind of stuff, is really, really good. And if he was to do this, like have a where someone takes over with him next year and phases him out, you have him. I'd be happy for him to stay on in footy operations or something like that, because he's a good club person and stuff like that. But we need to do like what Melbourne's done, like what Hawthorn did. Look at Carlton when they've gotten a fresh voice. That could be the difference between us staying where we're at or us moving forward with a fresh game plan. Clarko's game plan with the defensive style that he was famous for isn't the way to play anymore.
No, look, he's gone to man-on-man this year. No other team does that in the AFL system, and that's outdated. He needs to, you can't go to the board at the end of the year with Sonia Hood and say, we'll play the same defensive system next year. It has to be, a lot of teams you do presses, zones, and things like that. And that's just where the modern game is. And you can't, and that's something he's got to work on. Whether he's getting help from assistants, James, I'm not too sure. But I think the criticism has been quite harsh from the media. They pretty much called for his head last week, James.
Yeah, it's very harsh. He has had improvements every year, and what's this? Since this is our best win total since 2019 or something, I think it was. So
yeah, 7 years.
Yeah, exactly. So, and he's had more wins every season, and there is a game plan there. It's just that when and I think some of it's driven by the older guys, is when we start kicking it sideways and we start slowing the play down. That's where it gets frustrating. And I'm a fan of Caleb Daniel, but he sometimes is one of the architects of that. Is when he, if there's a bit of pressure on, he tends to kick it sideways.
Yeah.
And I think the older guys are the guys that they're once they're out of the team, I feel like we're going to find our game plan is going to go a lot quicker. Because even with Luke Parker, sometimes he'll kick it backwards or he'll slow it down when we should be moving it quick. Like when they take a mark and they'll be like with their hands out, slow down. You can't do that anymore. Yeah. Even Zerha does it. Our whole back line sometimes does the hands to slow it down. Yeah. So it's and unfortunately this day and age of the game, you can't do that anymore. It's got to be cool. Next ball, move it, because that's what every other team does. And if we don't match that, we're going to get left behind again.
Yeah, that's right. I remember Brisbane a few weeks ago because they were going through a bit of a rough patch, and they said the way we've played the last couple of years is not going to win us the premiership. So they've changed their game plan, and they've tried to be really attacking from the defensive half, defensive 50, and trying to really run a gun style from the back 50. They feel like that's the best chance to win 3 in a row. And you can't question them at the moment, so we'll have to wait.
Hasn't it though sometimes exposed Brisbane though? If they, their defensive...
Yeah, well, that's what the week before they lost by... Yeah, they lost by 10 goals or something the week before. It was against Carlton, wasn't it?
So
but everyone loses Carlton by 10 goals, James.
Yeah, it reminds us of us a couple of years ago where, we were just defensively absolutely woeful and it had just gone, like through the midfield, the whole everything. So we've improved that a lot this year. And I think Brisbane's finally starting to say, maybe we need to have a bit of a look at how we do things. And they have. And it's still a bit inconsistent, obviously. So... Yeah. And they're the reigning premiers, so it puts a bit of perspective on us, doesn't it? So
yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, well, Freo did to us what Carlton did to Brisbane. So that's the only game this year where I've been really, really, really disappointed is that game. Other games I've been like, well, you know what, like especially the last 6 weeks, we've kicked a couple of goals, we win the game, and that's all that was. We just didn't take our chances, and that's a little bit of polish, and that's something we can recruit. So, at the end of the day, we're in a good spot, and maybe Clarko is the man for the role. But at the same time, I just wonder what a fresh voice would do when you look at Melbourne, for example, who have brought in Stephen King, and look at where they are. They've just beaten Freo.
I mean, it could be a case that it's more of a young man's coaching job. It might be Micah Barlow. Yeah. I don't know. Like someone from within the club. So. Yeah, it could be a case of that. We're certainly not writing off Clarkson. We still have faith in him next year. But, I wouldn't be rushing to re-sign him, like the club were talking about a few weeks ago. But I wouldn't be rushing to get rid of him either. So I'll be more than happy for him to go into next year in the contract year. So, that'll be a discussion for the end of the year, James. So, we'll have to get you back on for that. Anyways, mate, did you want to add anything else before I let you go?
No, I'm just very keen for the women's to start, to be honest. That's going to be... I can't wait for that. I'll get the little man to a few of those. He got into a game or two this year. Nice. But I'm looking forward to the women's season. Went to the grand final last year and that was amazing. So we'll hopefully see another no-loss season and take home a three-peat.
There's probably a fair chance of that, to be honest with you, James. Yeah. I mean, they had the Australia versus Ireland game, and I think the best 5 players on the ground were all North Melbourne players.
From Ireland and
yeah, that's right. So I mean, we're just taking over the competition. It won't be long before the men start doing it, James.
Yeah, well, there you go. Maybe that's who we need. Maybe we need Crocker as our head coach.
Well, I think he's too good for that.
He did caretaker for us, I think, a few
yeah,
times.
yeah, he did. Yeah, after Laidley, was it Laidley? Yeah, Laidley left.
Yeah, it might have been after Laidley, yeah, and then there was that period between, Brad Scott coming on and
Yeah, that would have been about 2009 or something like that. So it's going back a long time. So.
That's almost the limit of my memory.
Mate, my limit of my memory is about 17 minutes ago, James. You kind of have to have short-term memory with North Melbourne, the men's team, so you can't look too far back. But we won't look in the rearview mirror too much, mate. But no James, thanks so much for joining me for the first time on the #Kangaroos podcast. It's been a great chat, and I really appreciate you taking the time to go through the Bulldogs win with me. Plenty of positives to take out of their performance, but also plenty to keep an eye out for the final 2 games. So hopefully we'll have you back on soon, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me, Dean.
No, thank you, mate. And to everyone listening, thanks again for your support of the podcast. I'll be back later in the week to preview Thursday night games with both the men's and women's teams in action. So I'll talk about the women's season ahead. So I'm sure James will look forward to that. There's plenty to get excited about the women who are chasing 3 flags in a row. James has already said we've already won it. They might as well just call the season off now. It's a massive opportunity. We'll have a good look at where they're heading into the season. Until then, enjoy the win over the Bulldogs. It was a long time ago now. Keep supporting the Kangaroos, and as always, go the Roos.